Good afternoon and welcome to Journeys, Workflows, and Drip Campaigns. Today we are going to talk about these three very powerful automation features in GreenRope. My name is Alessandra. I'm the Marketing Director and Implementation Manager here at GreenRope. You can find me at hreza@greenrope.com or alessandra@greenrope.com, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at GreenRope. I do also suggest that you join our LinkedIn users group. We do post a lot of information about new updates, best practices, tips, tricks, and of course all of our webinar recordings are posted there as well. And then of course if you want to like us on Facebook and all of our other social channels, those are always great ways to keep in touch with us, especially, like new updates like our new UI and other exciting new features. All right, so today's agenda, we're going to go over just a brief overview of GreenRope's marketing automation tools, and then we're going to dive deep into journeys, workflows, and drip campaigns, and then of course we will do a Q&A. So you can put your questions into the chat box as we go along, and I will answer them at the end of every section to make sure that I'm answering specific questions about those features that you want to cover. So, marketing automation tools. So this is just going to be kind of a brief overview of some of the marketing automation tools that GreenRope does offer, and we will be doing a webinar on each of these. This is kind of the first in sort of a longer series that we are going to do. Some will be more strategic, some will be more how-to. At the end of this webinar, I will ask kind of what sort of content that you guys would like to see from us, so I really look forward to hearing that from you. And then, of course, if you have any feedback about certain content or topics you would like us to cover in these webinars, please reach out to me. I build these surrounding your feedback. So yeah, just let me know. All right, so marketing automation tools. So I found this quote and I thought that it was really relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. We have technology finally that for the first time in human history allows people to really maintain rich connections with much larger numbers of people. And that's really what automation helps us do, is to build and maintain and nurture relationships a lot more effectively than we would if we were manually to do so. And drip campaigns, workflows, and journeys play a large part in that. So our marketing automation features, so these are kind of the biggest ones, and then of course the ones in green are the ones we're going to be discussing today. So customer journeys, huge one, that is a really big part of the system. We're going to kind of talk about those first, as those are sort of your overarching automation, but overarching, vision, view of your process, your automation, your strategy, how customers move through your funnel or move through different parts of your funnel. Drip campaigns, we're going to talk about workflows, of course, we're going to talk about as well. Those are, there's so many endless possibilities when it comes to workflows, so we're going to spend a lot of time there. Some of the other really awesome automation features we have in GreenRope is the link library. We have talked about that in the past, but we will expand on that. That's a very powerful tool for tracking links in your emails and triggering automation based on those clicks. Marketing Automation Manager, so being able to view all of your automation in one place, autoresponders attached to the sign-up forms, and the campaign optimizer. So again, these are just a kind of a high-level list. There are many features that tie into your marketing automation, which is why GreenRope is such a powerful tool, is because everything is tied together. And so it doesn't just stop with these features. It really ties together, lead scoring, of course, your email marketing, campaign tracking, websites, landing pages, sign-up forms, all of that stuff. And so that's, kind of the bigger picture. And we do either have webinars or will be diving deeper into all of these as well. So marketing automation and CRM. So why it's so important to have integration. And I'm sure as Green Rope clients, you chose Green Rope, for a reason. And one of those reasons was probably for its level of integration, is the fact that you can get so many features and so much rich data from one platform without having to invest in costly API work, integrations. There's so much already built in the system that your business can use. And so the big reason here that we always want marketing automation and CRM, and again, we have so many other functionalities, but for this, I'm really focusing on the marketing automation and the CRM aspect, is marketing is streamlining the transition from marketing to sales and building that relationship between the two. Traditionally, marketing and sales have kind of always been on opposite sides. Marketing is not delivering high quality enough leads. Sales isn't taking the leads seriously. They don't normally talk to each other, which is a huge mistake. Obviously, they're both two sides of the same coin. And there has to be active collaboration, conversations, and cohesion between the two in order for a sales funnel to work the way it's supposed to work. If not, you kind of have that disjointed sales funnel, and you've got leads entering and exiting in every which way and no real sense of streamlined process. So having marketing automation tied with your CRM allows that to happen seamlessly. And the way that you tie those two together are through your journeys, your workflows, and your drip campaigns. Personalization and segmentation, those two kind of go together. So with your personalization and or segmentation, you use the data that is stored in your CRM, in your contact records, to personalize content or to segment your content. You can also use customer behavior. And so we're going to get into that with journeys. If a customer or a client does A, what happens after? If they do B, what happens? And so through having that data, not only demographic data stored in the CRM, but behavior data coming from your marketing automation, you're able to not only collect more data about your leads and clients, but deliver a better customer experience through personalization and segmentation. And that brings me, of course, to the customer experience. And I'm sure, and I use this example all the time because I feel like this is my life every time I call like AT&T or Wells Fargo, and I'm sure everyone here can sympathize with it, is how many times have you been transferred to the next department and all of a sudden you're repeating your account number, you're repeating the issue, and it's quite annoying. You end up spending like 45 minutes on the phone with them, and it's a relatively frustrating experience. Now, having your systems tied together, marketing automation, CRM, and in this case, with that kind of, with that example, customer service, which we do through our ticketing and other system features, you have each department has access to the contact record. So they've got context for every conversation. And having that context for every conversation really alleviates the frustration that we as consumers feel when we're trying to get something done quickly and more effectively. And therefore that really improves the customer experience. On the marketing side, you can really allow the lead or the customer to drive the level of engagement, drive the actions, drive the content that you send them. And again, that really significantly improves the customer experience as well. Increasing productivity. You can get more done. I mean, at the end of the day, if we aren't manually sending out emails, if we aren't manually importing and exporting data into a system consistently, we become more productive. When we have the access that we need to the tools and the data we need, we become more productive. Data. So, as data-driven organizations, we need access to data. And every department needs access in some capacity to the same types of data. Whether they're email marketers, social media, lead nurturing, customer experience, sales managers, customer support, everyone needs at some level access to the same types of data. And so that's why it's so important that instead of everyone having their own consolidated little systems where they only get a piece of the puzzle, with Green Rope, you really get a 360-degree view of the customer relationship everywhere from, first awareness, so first engagement point, all the way through conversion, how they've, communicated with your customer support, if they've opened your newsletters, and how engaged they are, if they're attending your webinars, etc. So it's just really important to have all of that in one synchronized place. And then growth, all of that together is inevitably going to lead to growth. When you are productive, when you've got data, when you're providing optimal experiences for your customers, at the end of the day, that all really feeds into your overall growth as a company. Journeys are a feature I get asked about a lot in our implementation. I build these out a lot for different clients. We are focusing more on marketing and lead nurturing for these examples, but I'm happy to answer questions that extend beyond that as well. So why use customer journeys? Customer journeys give you a whole picture. So they have a start, a middle, and an end. So they give you sort of that bird's eye perspective of how a customer moves through either your entire funnel or particular segments of your funnel. And so that's why journeys are so important. Whereas, for example, a workflow or drip campaign might only be a part of one point in a funnel. A journey will give you the whole picture. Customer journeys can include emails, workflows, groups, and more. And we'll again go into that. Segmentation, they're a great way to segment how, what customers go on which journeys. So you can have decisions which say, okay, everyone who is in Los Angeles goes through on this path, everyone who's in Orange County goes on this path, everyone who's in New York goes on this path. And then of course you can dive deeper into all sorts of different data points. Customer experience, so it creates more seamless transitions and a consistent experience across all of your touch points. So what, one customer might experience will be consistent with what another customer might experience. They might receive different types of content, but the overall experience is consistent. Again, that productivity increases your productivity. You do not have to you do not have to send these emails manually. You do not have to personalize these emails manually. You do not have to look at the data and say, okay, this person is in this box, this person's in this box. I need to send this email here, this email there. Journeys and the system already does that for you. Data collection, so it tells you a lot about how your leads and your clients are engaging and moving through your funnel, which gives you a better idea of what are your effective strategies, what's your effective content, and if you need to make any changes. And then, of course, growth for your overall internal team in your business. So you want to be as efficient and effective as possible. The more efficient you can be at delivering optimal customer experiences, the faster, the more significantly you can grow. So what makes up a customer journey? So there's three main aspects, three main elements in a customer journey. It's action. Those are your emails, workflows, and groups. So what emails are you sending? What workflows are you activating? And what groups are you adding or removing contacts from? Delays. Now, delays, there's many different delays that can happen, and we'll discuss some of those. They can be based on time. They can be based on sending documents or when documents are signed. They can be based on certain actions, for example, clicks. And then, of course, they can be on specific dates. And then the last element of a journey is your decision. And that is based off of customer behavior, demographics, campaigns, funnel stages, and a large list of data, including your custom user-defined fields. And so decisions are really the driving factor behind the personalization of your journeys and determining which path each lead or customer is going to go on. So I'm going to give you a really basic example of a journey, and then we'll kind of go into the system and we'll go through any questions you guys have. So this is just, I'm going to use an MQL journey as an example. And when I say MQL, that's marketing qualified lead. So these are leads that come in from a marketing channel, such as, let's say, social media, download an ebook. They're not sales ready. They haven't requested a demo. They're not necessarily ready to talk to someone, but we would like to nurture them with a series of emails. And depending on if they click on a particular link to get a demo, then we'll move them down particular paths. So this is our action, right? So this is how we're starting this journey. And I'll actually show you how this journey is triggered. But for the first part of this session, I want to look at how we are triggering how we're just creating or formulating the journey itself. So our first action is to send an email. Now you can see the different actions that are available to us. There's send email, activate a workflow, add to group, and remove from group. And all of those will be important at different parts of your journey. So here we can see we start the journey with sending that initial email. The next is going to be our delay. And so we've got a number of delay options that you can use. The first is delay until a specific date and time. The second is until the contact's birthday. Date defined by a user-defined field. So that will be based on a date that you have within the contact record. Opportunity close date. A really cool one is for document e-signed by recipient. So for those of you who don't know, Greenrope does have automatic document or built-in document signing into the platform. So you can create documents, send them out via workflow, and then if you want to wait to do something until that document is signed, you would use this journey to trigger an action once those documents are signed. The next one is delay until linked click. So the next action would not happen until they clicked a link. This one is delay until email read or clicked. So it would delay until the email was either opened or clicked. And then, of course, you've got local day of week or contact local time, and those are based on time zones for your contact, which are really, really helpful if you deal with contacts in multiple regions or parts of the world. We actually just have a blog post that's going to be coming out that talks about different ways that you can optimize time zone sending as well. So here is the next stage in our journey. So we've sent the first email, and now we are going to delay until a specific link within it is clicked, but a max of 48 hours. So what we want to do is wait until they've clicked the email. If they haven't clicked the email to get a live demo within 48 hours, then we're going to go on to the next step. Now we can do a decision, which is clicked on the previous email. And so this is, again, we could do any number of decisions, and I'm going to show you kind of the longer list of what our options are. So we can do it by action. So this is customer behavior. What did they do? Did they read or click a previous email? Did they read it? Did they click on a previous email? Did they click on a specific link? Did they respond to an SMS or voice campaign? Visit webpage, have campaign ID. So all of these are, different actions or behavior attributes that a contact can have that you can use to tailor a journey. One thing that is important here too, like if they have a campaign ID, so let's say you want to trigger a journey based on a particular campaign ID. So let's say they come from Facebook. And so they've got the Facebook campaign ID. Well, you can filter out specific contacts based on a decision. So you can start a journey with a decision that says, if the contact has a campaign Facebook, send them email 1. If contact has campaign Twitter, send them email 2, and so forth. We've also got opportunity status, so opportunity paths if they're in specific phases or in specific paths. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is our fields. So this is really important too. So this is another way that you can, again, that segmentation, personalization for your journeys is by using either our standard fields or any of your user-defined fields. So, if title is marketing, they can go down one path. If title is CEO, another, and you get the point. So here is just kind of the beginning of this overall journey. So we've got action 1, send an email, delay, and then a decision. Did they visit? In this case, I picked did they visit a particular site page on our site? And if they did, then they'll go down one path. And if they did not, they'll go down another path, probably get a similar email to the MQL drip 1. A journey can be triggered from a workflow. So we're going to kind of go through workflows and how they trigger journeys. A sign-up form can trigger a journey. A ticketing form can trigger a journey. A drip campaign via a workflow. So again, that workflow, but and I'll show you that. And then of course they can be triggered manually as well. So those are the different ways that you can trigger a journey. So the journey. So again, like I said, you have a start, a middle, and an end. So a couple ways that you can start a journey: an ebook download, so sign up form, a conversion. Someone purchases or signs up for a trial. They have hit a conversion point on your site or within your funnel. Ticketing. So those are just examples. Kind of your middle. Those are going to be your emails, workflows, decisions, customer behavior, and personalization that you can do all within those journeys. And then the end, you can stop the journey, you can add them to a group, activate a workflow, and of course track how people have moved through your journeys. A journey is all about perspective. Go through your journeys from the customer perspective. Do they make sense? Do they provide an exceptional customer experience? So never go through and make a journey live without testing it yourself. You want to make sure that they, each point, each step flows smoothly, and that you're not missing anything between in between actions or your decisions, and make sure that your delays are set up properly. And then here, in terms of like the customer journey formula, we've got data and customer behavior. Data drives our content, and customer behavior drives the journey. Workflows, groups, emails, and actions. Personalized journeys with any number of different options, like activating a workflow, adding to a group, or sending an email. And then that results in your seamless customer journeys. Workflows. So what can a workflow do? So a workflow is really the powerhouse, what I consider the powerhouse of automation within Greenroad. They are capable of so many different things. So they can trigger activities. So on a very basic level, they can trigger activities such as follow-ups, tasks, phone calls, etc. On a more complex level, they can trigger, pause, stop, and resume a journey. And so a lot of the way that we trigger specific journeys is via a workflow that is activated. And again, there's so many different ways that you can customize the system to work for you in the way that you want to set it up. So the key is to not look at journeys and workflows as two separate entities. At the end of the day, a workflow works with journeys, and a journey works with workflows. They're not interchangeable. They're parts of one another. They're part of a sum. So a journey can activate a workflow, and a workflow can also activate, stop, pause, or resume a journey. So again, this is how it's all set up, and I'm going to show you examples of some of ours. They can send emails, documents, invoices, and more. And when I say send emails, that is relatively limited. They can't send an email, for example, like a journey can send multiple emails, or a drip campaign will send a series of emails. What they can do is they can send, one email, a personal email as an activity or an alert. So they're not used to actively send like a lead nurturing campaign, that you would use a workflow that triggered a lead nurturing journey to do that if you wanted to, or a drip campaign to trigger a series of emails. So it's those emails, and again, the basic one-off emails, personal emails, alerts, SMS, invoices, DocuSign, documents, or quotes. So those are kind of the sending features of our workflows. They can create opportunities and update opportunity phases. And then keep in mind that if changes in phase paths can also activate specific workflows. So if you've got a person that moves from, lead to qualified lead, and you want to activate a sales follow-up from that, you can also do that within a opportunity. They can modify a contact, so they can add conversion codes, append and add contact data. They can add campaign IDs, and I'm going to show you a specific, I actually talked about this in my last webinar on social media integration, where I've got a specific workflow that's triggered when someone comes in from Facebook that we use, or LinkedIn that we use via Zap. And to get that campaign ID, because it's from a lead nurturing, from a lead gen form, I add a campaign ID within that workflow. So it lets me know that they're from LinkedIn lead gen. Assign tags, and then also add or remove from groups. And then, like I said, they're really the powerhouse. They connect departments together, streamlining process and creating seamless connections. So with that MQL drip email that I showed you, so this is the workflow that triggers that journey that we created. Earlier in this presentation, and it's called our MQL workflow. And this is triggered within a new lead stage 0 workflow. And I'm going to show you sort of what that means, what that looks like, and show you how all of these are set up differently. So here's what I was talking about. I can get an alert. So if someone triggers this workflow, I can get an alert. I can immediately send an email. I can send an SMS. I can also send a quote or an invoice, send a document, and then this is the new one here, which is the DocuSign envelope as well. Please do note that with the DocuSign, it does require a DocuSign API with Greenrope, so it's not just like a regular account, so just keep that in mind. The MQL, so in the trigger actions, so it gives the conversion code of stage 0. This puts us in the top of the funnel. This puts them in, this drops them into our funnel so that we know that they're in our funnel and they are there, so we can start marketing to them. They have a sales follow-up, and it's just better for overall tracking of leads. They start our MQL journey. And that was that journey that we were just setting up in our previous, in the previous example. Modify contacts. So we want to add them to our MQL Greenrope leads. So we want to add them to a specific group. We set the contact data. So this is, again, adding that contact data, lead type to MQL. We add campaign ID MQL to them so that we know, and our salespeople know, that this is not sales qualified. They came in from a marketing channel. They're going to be more marketing qualified, and typically going to have a longer lead time. And then our workflow actions, again, this one doesn't actually have any particular workflows that are associated with it, but if we needed to, we would put an activity in here. And in this case, it's a follow-up. So I like to use a tool called Journey Flow. And this is a free tool that Greenrope developed to help us visualize our process. And so the biggest thing is really understanding what the process looks like. What do you want it to be? And so all you need to log into Journey Flow is just a LinkedIn. And it works similarly to to Green Ropes journeys, but a little bit more customizable. So for example, you don't have the actions, like you would here. Instead, I can put in here on it, or signs up to download an ebook. And so I can have notes in here, and I can actually create the flow of what happens and connect it there. And so, okay, I know that's how this is triggered. Then I would go into, we immediately send the ebook. Did they open the ebook or not? Did they download it? And then what happens after that? And so I use this kind of as a drawing tool almost to map out what I want to happen. So here's like a generic new lead journey. So they sign up on a sign up form, they were added to the leads group, and they trigger the new lead workflow. We send new lead email 1. We send new lead email 2. Number 3, do they become a client? Then we add them to clients group, add not to clients group. And so this is just kind of an overarching customer journey. Now what I can do is actually go into each of these parts and create what I like to call micro journeys, which will be like a series of steps, actions, emails that go on within a very specific part of your funnel. And so this is a really cool tool if you just want to kind of play around with how you, with sort of these are kind of all your different options, of how you want people to flow through your funnel, based on decisions. Did they book? What happens after that? And so this is a good way to visualize it without actually making anything live in the system, and being able to share it with your teammates to see what they think as well. So just a cool tool I recommend everyone check out. So now if we actually go into kind of from start to finish, we can look at a particular flow that we have. So I'm going to go back into one of our sign-up forms. And please put in questions if you do have questions along the way, or if there's something specific you want me to. So I'm going to use this complete guide to marketing automation and examples. So this is an ebook. So it's a lead gen ebook that we have. We just launched it a couple days ago. And we're going to look at what it triggers. So if I go into options, we have it set up to where they have to confirm their email, of course, because we're double opt-in. So they've got to confirm. And so once upon confirmation, then they get the download email. So this is an email that's immediately sent out. Click here to confirm your email. And then here, immediately after confirmation, they get the download now. What also happens is it starts a journey. So it starts a journey called New Lead Stage 0 Multi-Channel. And so the reason that it's called that is it's because it's for new leads. It puts them in stage 0 in our funnel. So the top of our funnel is called stage 0, and it's multi-channel. So these are coming in from our multi-marketing channels. So that's why it's named as such. So now if I go into that particular journey, you can see it here. And one thing to note too, Melinda, this might be helpful for you as well, is if you look, you've got 4 workflows start this journey, 11 sign-up forms start this journey, 1 ticketing form starts this journey. So you can see how this journey is started. So remember, so they just signed up on our landing page to download our marketing automation ebook. They confirmed their email. If they weren't a user, if they were, then they were automatically given the ebook. If they were not, then they had to confirm, and then this journey started. Well, if they're already a Green Rope user, we don't want to put them in any such group. They're already a Green Rope user. They already are engaging with us on a regular basis. We just want to give them that ebook, and then they're done. We also have a users additional, so that's to keep track of additional emails that our users might have. So if they're a member of that group, then we stop that as well, because again, they're users. Are they already a member of Green Rope Leads? Well, if they're already a member of our leads group, then we don't want to reactivate them on a sales or a lead nurturing campaign, because chances are they've already been through that. And so we don't want to, and so if it's true, then we stop them on that, stop them on this journey here. Now, if they're not a member of Green Rope Leads, then we add them to Green Rope Leads group, and we activate the MQL workflow, which is what I discussed in the presentation. So that is going to give them that campaign ID MQL. It's going to alert me, and it's going to give them the campaign ID MQL. And remember, contacts can have more than one campaign ID. So even if they came in, let's say from Facebook, where they downloaded this ebook, I still want to know what their story is. So campaign IDs for me tell a story. Okay, they came in from Facebook, they were an MQL lead, they went through this, this journey. And then this MQL workflow activates our MQL journey, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. And then, of course, we have, are they in the US, Canada, Mexico, because we have got different salespeople, and it activates the salesperson for the appropriate, activates a follow-up for the appropriate salesperson based on their geographic location. So that's a relatively simple journey, but a really good example of how you can use decisions and use workflows and groups within a journey. So now if we look at this section of the journey, which is activating that MQL workflow, well, let's go into our workflow manager, which is where you are going to work, where you're going to create and manage all of your workflows. And so we're going to pull up that workflow, MQL workflow. And we did go through this in the presentation, so here it is again. So again, this webinar is only activated within that journey that we just saw. And then it's going to trigger the MQL journey. So now, if we go back into our journeys, I'm going to pull up that MQL journey. And here you can see what this looks like. And this is going to be another example. So here we've sent MQL drip 1 after 3 days. Did they read or they click on those read or click on any of the previous emails? If so, they get the email 2. If not, we give them another couple of days. And so this is basically just sending them down different times of when they get particular emails. Now, if we have them click, so some of them have download links and links to blog posts, but the important link for us is if they downloaded, and I'm currently working on this journey, is if they download this particular, if they click on this link, which is a demo link to get a live demo, then I'm right now, and I've actually been working on this today, we're going to activate a specific follow-up from the MQL specifically for a salesperson. Now, if they do not engage with us at all, if they do not open a single email at any point, then we add them to our unresponsive leads group. And that's a group that we want to keep lead nurturing, nurturing them on a monthly basis. They'll get a monthly newsletter about Green Rope, but we're not actively pursuing them as leads until they re-engage with us. And then we do have particular links and set up that if they click on a link, we can re-engage them, and that will put them in a re-engagement campaign or activate a re-engage workflow, which will trigger a sales follow-up. I do want to kind of just run through drip campaigns really quickly, just to kind of give you an idea of what they are and why, and how they're used. So they are an automation tool. They're a series of emails that go out over a predetermined time frame. So again, there's no sort of logic built into them. There is a little bit of filtering that you can do at the very beginning, but other than that, it's just a series of emails and that go out over a predetermined time. So they are attached to groups. So a big thing is workflows and journeys are not group specific. Drip campaigns are. So if you have a drip campaign set up in a particular group, it will automatically activate if that person is added to a group. So just keep that in mind when setting up your drip campaigns. They are group specific. They're great for onboarding and education. So if you came on as a trial user in GreenRope, you probably got our trial drip campaign. And that is just a drip campaign that goes over how different parts of the system, how to use it, tutorials, etc. So there's no real need for us to create decisions based on whether you read it or not, because it's an informational tool, almost like a guidebook, but sent in a series of emails. So now I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. So this is what your drip campaign performance, your drip campaign page looks like. So you can see your reads, clicks, unsubscribes, bounces. And this is the drip campaign itself. So as you can see, immediately after they are added to the group, they get drip campaign number 1. And that activates our new trial workflow. So they've started a trial, they get this email immediately, and then that activates our new trial workflow. And then you can see over the next 13 days, they get a series of 10 emails. And so as you can see, there's no real if they read it or if they clicked. It's just a straight series of emails. So the big differences are journeys are not group specific. They're big picture, customer life cycle, and they're highly customizable. Workflows, both group and not group specific. So you can associate a workflow to be only with a group, and this is particularly helpful if you only want people with specific actions to have access to particular workflows. They are the automation powerhouse, so there's really so much that you can do with them. Many capabilities, and they're the driving force behind your automation. Drip campaigns are group specific, emails and workflows, onboarding tools, and they're not as dynamic as workflows and or journeys. And so just a couple of things here, guys. Don't forget that we are offering our free certification program. So if you do want to take it, be sure to reach out to Melissa mfilich@greenrope.com. If you want help with your strategy or building any of these processes out, we do offer implementation services. And if you have questions about that, just give me a call. I'd be happy to sit with you and kind of see what, discuss, what you want to do, give you some ideas, and we can kind of go through what our options are. And then, of course, if we've got creative services, and you can contact Ryan at GreenRope for that.
Since this is a recorded webinar, many of the live questions asked during the webinar might not be available. If you do have any questions, please reach out to our support team at support@greenrope.com, and make sure to check out our website for any of the upcoming webinars and part 2 of the Marketing Automation series.